Welcome back to SoulBack. This is the R&B podcast. Kyle here with Ed. And Ed, we've got a special guest in the building. Someone that has brought soul back. Ed, introduce us to the special guest.
Yes, let me introduce you to the guest of the hour. This is a man who has been bringing soul back for years now. He has been the forefront of soul on the internet, paving the way to keep R&B alive for those of us in the internet generation. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Tom Leo has returned.
I actually thought you were going to say Mr. Ed Bowser for a second.
Oh man, I missed my opportunity. Yes, I should have done that. Also, that other guy, Tom, is back. Hey.
I was touched that someone actually was looking for me on the podcast. That was a little surprising.
This is true. One of the fans on our Facebook page was like, where's Tom at? So
I will say, you guys need me back to keep Ed from his typical slander.
Oh no, that doesn't change whether you're here or gone. Sorry, player.
So guys, a lot happened in R&B over the last 2 weeks, but a lot happened just with us personally. Let me tell you some stories before we get into R&B. Ed, I know you weren't there for them, physically, but you were looped in on the chats, when Tom visited Vancouver, and a lot to talk about. Well, we won't get into too much detail, but Tom, we had a lot of fun. Tom got me eating grasshoppers in Seattle.
Yeah, I got to hear more about this bug eating story, because I only heard about this in passing. So, what is up with you eating creatures off of the ground?
They weren't off the ground. That's like a delicacy in Seattle, apparently, and they serve it. They cook it, they serve it, clean it, and Kyle ate one.
What does it look like? Is it like calamari, how it's like fried up, or is it just literally a bug on your plate and it's like, here, eat it?
It's like a bug. You feel the texture. There's legs and arms. It's gross, man.
God, no.
Okay, let me break it down for you.
Yeah, break it down. I want to know what it tastes like.
Okay, so before the trip, Tom had visited Vancouver. We were going to go to Seattle for the day, which is like a 2-hour drive. And Tom was like, okay, we're going to try grasshoppers because, the Mariners, they have this tradition. So we go to the arena or the stadium, and we walk to the vendor, and they're sold out of grasshoppers. So, like Tom said, it must be a heck of a delicacy if it sells out that quickly.
Eating that many grasshoppers that they're selling out. Ugh.
So, Ed, here's the thing. The grasshoppers were $4, so I thought, okay, it's $4. I'll probably get one grasshopper and be done with it.
Wait, $4 for one?
That's what I thought. I thought it was some, rare thing that people eat. But, midway through the game, we went back to the vendor and asked, hey, do you have any grasshoppers now? And they're like, yep, we just restocked. So they gave us, a container full of grasshoppers. I swore there was probably 50 of them in there.
Oh my God!
And I'm not eating 50 grasshoppers. This was a one-time thing, and I had a Tyrese Gibson moment, and I shared the grasshoppers with everyone else around me. Everyone had one. We made a toast to the Mariners on the count of 3, and we all ate it. Well, except Tom, because he decided it was cooler to film what was going on instead of eating it with us. But yep. Ed, the grasshoppers.
Typical Tom.
The grasshoppers are marinated in some lemon pepper sauce.
Oh my God! Rick Ross lemon pepper wings, except they're grasshoppers.
Yeah. The texture was rather crunchy. I probably will never do that again, but yeah, that was my grasshopper experience.
So wait a minute, let me go back and fill in the blanks. So $4, you thought you were gonna get one grasshopper. To me, that's the equivalent of getting one French fry. But instead, $4 get you a bucket of 50 grasshoppers.
Yep.
And I like how they had to restock. Basically, they had to go back in the back and go catch a bunch of grasshoppers. Oh, we restocked like they flew them in from somewhere. Player, you were chasing them down in the backyard. And you pass them around and they taste like lemon pepper. This is the grossest thing I've ever heard. And then, of course, Tom doesn't even eat them. He just gets folks to eat it and then takes a picture. Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Well, I'll give you one more story.
Ed, at least we got him to try soul food. That's all I have to say.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
No,
because grasshoppers
really,
taste just like cornbread, I'm sure.
Ed, I got another story for you. So, before we decided to get the grasshoppers, we were choosing between grasshoppers or an ice cream sandwich, and we decided to go with the grasshoppers.
Oh, wait a minute. You chose between grasshoppers and an ice cream sandwich, and you decided to go with the grasshoppers. So let me put this in R&B terms. I am choosing between Elle Varner and Keith Sweat's 1996 album. Let me go with Elle Varner. This is going to taste great.
What? The ice cream sandwich looked better than the Keith Sweat album. It was as big as Kyle's head. I'm serious.
What kind of ice cream sandwich was this?
It was like $13. You get 2 huge cookies and like 5 scoops of ice cream in the middle.
How do you physically eat that?
I don't know,
but that layer of ice cream was more thick than. Come on, Ed, give me a Ashanti.
Cut this off.
It was more thick than Ashanti.
Let's keep this thing moving. It's a family show.
Oh, okay,
I was gonna say all 3 men of vision, but whatever.
I was just say the Whitehead brothers.
The Whitehead brothers are slim, trim, and are in shape.
Wow.
Who knew?
Well, I'm glad everyone is back. I'm sure we'll have more stories to share. Ed, you got to remind me to bring up the Street Fighter story later. But we'll get to
my
that
gosh.
in a bit.
Yes.
We got some new R&B to talk about. A lot of music to go through. I'm not sure who did their homework here, but if this is a time for you to be an R&B fan, I hope you listen to all of this. I'm going to start testing you guys right now. We're going to start off with Marsha's new album. Tom, you were at the listening party a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I actually talked to her that night. She wanted to make a more, how would I say it, wholesome album in terms of she's in love now. So the music is reflective of that. So I thought it was cool. Her previous music wasn't really that direction. It was more bedroom music part of the time, so which she understands. But it's good to see her progress her music.
Yeah, we talked about this a lot on the podcast about how fans will be like, we want so-and-so to sound like the album they did 10 years ago. But people grow and their experiences changes, so she can't be like, I hope she cheats on you with a basketball player if she's like got a child and in love. So her music is going to reflect her personal experiences, and that makes sense.
So, Ed, you reviewed the album. What did you think? Because on your cipher, people were calling like the second half of the album snoozy, and I thought Tom only used that word, but apparently other people do too.
Wow, other people use that word? Oh man.
Yeah.
No, I've been using it too. Tom's rubbing off on me, and I agree. My review is up on soulandstereo.com. Go check that out. And as most people know, I'm a huge Marsha fan, but I do agree. The second half of the album, snoozy might not be the right word for it, but it's very samey. Like there's one kind of consistent tone through it, and that's not something that she usually does. It would have helped. The songs aren't bad, but it would have helped with some better sequencing, move some stuff around, something so those last tracks don't all just kind of blend into each other. And I think that as an album, as a total body of work, that really hurts it. Because that second half just kind of like, it's just so mellow that it kind of flattens things out. It's a good album. Of her 3, I think is easily the weakest, but it's still one of the more notable releases of the year.
Well, it's been a slow year this year, obviously, and I know a lot of people have been calling this the R&B album of the year. We'll have to see. There's a couple more albums coming out, including Tom. He's finally back, 9 years later. My boy, Mario.
Your boy.
Dancing Shadows. And this was an album that I think would receive a lot of bipolar reactions, but from what I've seen online, a lot of people seem to like it, including our homeboy who was recording You Don't Have to Call, his own cover version on Instagram the other day. Tom and I were dying when we were watching that. But even Soulchild likes this album. Ed, he has the album of the year, doesn't he?
Let's not go that far. I like the album, but I am kind of surprised, and you've seen more than I have. Most of the responses I've seen have just kind of been kind of Soul and Stereo fans, and most of them have been supportive of it. To me, it reminded me a lot of Luke James's debut album, and that album had very mixed reactions because people expected a certain sound from him, and he came with this very kind of almost dark and atmospheric sound. And people are kind of like, I don't know if I like this direction. This Mario album reminds me of that in a lot of ways. So I was kind of warning people, don't expect Let Me Love You 2005, y'all. But so far, the reception has been pretty positive. Personally, I like a lot of it. I think, again, some of it's a little too left for me. Some of it just doesn't connect. It's just kind of like, oh, that was a good experiment, but doesn't sit as a good song, so to speak. So there's a lot of that on the album. It's a good, Mario fans are going to eat it up. I think the rest of us will appreciate it, but it's not the huge comeback that I was kind of hoping for.
Right.
Tom. All I know is I didn't listen, but Kyle told me I might like one or two songs. That can't be good.
No, that's probably about right for you.
All right. But Tom, it's interesting. Ed brought up that Luke James album. What was your reaction when you first heard Luke's album? Because we were huge supporters when he first came out, and that album was very left field.
Yeah, it just wasn't what I expected. Didn't really get into it. Wasn't commercially viable, really, to be honest. So, yeah, and he hasn't been back since, unfortunately.
Well, if we can wait 9 years for Mario, I'm sure we can wait another, 4 for Luke?
Probably. It's been about that.
Yeah. But you're right. For everyone out there, if you're going into it expecting Let Me Love You, because that's what I did initially when I listened to the album. I thought I was going to get a bunch of Let Me Love You, and I didn't get that. So I came away disappointed, but I went back and listened to the album for what it was, and it's a cool listen. And I'm not saying that because I'm just a huge Mario fan, maybe. Let's talk about another EP that just dropped. And Tom, I think you got to give a shout out to one of our fans for this one, Shawn Stockman's EP.
I do. Yeah, I mean, honestly, we wouldn't have even known about this unless one of our fans gave us a heads up. I mean, was there even any indication he was working on a EP? I didn't hear it, but shout out to D-Brook on Twitter, fighting for R&B just like we are, and we have a Shawn Stockman of Boys to Men EP out. I don't know if you guys had a chance to hear it.
I did. I listened to it this morning, in fact. And, I really, really like it. I think that it's a sleeper, and I think that a lot of our fans would very greatly appreciate it. If you haven't heard it, I think it's just called Shawn. Please check it out. It might be, I mean, I've only heard it one time, so it's hard to weigh it, but it's probably up there for one of the better, if not the best EP I've heard this year out of R&B. It's very, very strong.
Why is he doing an EP? Anyone have any ideas?
Well, Tom, from what I heard, cut you off, guys. Hold on. Can we stop using the word sleeper in this podcast because it reminds me too much of Snoozy, and now I'm confused on whether it's a sleeper or a.
So
you gotta get sleeper off your vocab. But continue with your discussion.
I thought the same thing, man.
Oh my God! Can the adults talk for a minute? Jeez, I think people can know the difference between a sleeper pick and a sleepy album.
Okay. Go ahead, Ed.
I can't remember what I was talking about now. The EP is good.
I was saying, do you guys know why he did an EP? Because we were expecting an album.
Yes, that's what we were talking about. From what I heard is that he was releasing a couple of EPs and then going to go into an album. And I can't remember who kind of passed that word along to me. But that was the rumor online, that it was this EP, there would be something else coming, and then we would get the full album. I'm not sure if it's going to be kind of a situation like Lloyd did with True, or even what Jessie J did with her kind of individual EPs going into one album. But it seemed a little similar to that strategy. But if the album is along the sounds of this, I think he's going to have a really good project.
Well,
nice.
I hope people more than me and you are able to hear it. That's all I'm hoping for.
It's a shame you have to...
Dudes, it wasn't on his Instagram yesterday. I mean, what's the point?
No, and I agree with you. I think that it's very, very telling that we've got these artists that are coming out with projects that people are just kind of stumbling over, and just like, oh, there just happens to be something, and it's word of mouth. I don't understand why. Listen, I know Beyonce has perfected this whole surprise album. You just drop stuff and the fans go crazy and share it. But unless you are Beyonce Knowles, you do not have the type of social media insanity around you to promote your stuff. If you want people to hear your stuff, you better push it on all your channels, and then come to the sites like I Got Soul, to the sites like Soul and Stereo or the SoulBack podcast, and tell folks, and then we will happily spread the good word. But y'all just like telling your mama and expect the whole world to know. That ain't how it's going to work in 2018.
So serious question for the both of you guys. Have you listened to Shy's album since it came out?
I still have not listened to Shy's album.
Oh.
Nope.
Because that came out of nowhere. That was a Beyonce release.
It was, and no one knew.
Yeah.
If you're not
Beyonce,
don't be Beyonce.
Yeah. Another single that came out, Shawn Stockman's label mate, Brian McKnight. He has a new single out. He dropped an album last year, I believe, and now he's back with another single, 42, Grown and Tipsy. Ed, this is like trap music for old folks.
That's what I wouldn't say it's trap music for grown folks, but it's certainly club music for grown folks. I didn't want to use the trap word because that's such a dirty word in R&B, and people are like, oh no, it doesn't have the trap beat, but it's definitely got the vibe. It's definitely the turn up music for people that's in their 40s and above. I thought it was an okay track. I know Tom really liked it. A lot of our fans really liked it. To me, it's okay. It feels like an album cut that you would kind of stumble upon while listening to the album, and you might not go to the next song, but maybe you are. You're in the mood for it sometimes. Maybe you're not. The beat's a little distracting. I don't know what it is. It's something about it kind of takes me out of the lyrical experience and focuses more on the beat, which I kind of don't like in R&B that much. So it's an okay track, but thankfully it's energetic and not snoozy, but it's also got a little bit of energy to it, and that's something a lot of the releases we've seen this year have been lacking. Energy. Bring me some energy, y'all. Oh, everybody's sleeping.
I listened to it. Another song I had no idea about, except for you guys telling me. I mean, if I didn't go on his Twitter this morning, I wouldn't have known it even came out, but I like it. I think, like Ed said, it has energy. I didn't think it was trap necessarily. I thought it was progressive for sure, but I thought it was a cool direction to go in. He's been going in a little bit of that more progressive sound in his music, so I don't mind it.
Right. Hot take question for you guys of the day. You guys remember, I think, Ed, I saw it on your cipher, but a few years ago he did that song, Let Me Show You How Your Female Body Part
Oh,
Works.
yes. I do.
I'll let you guys take turns on this. I'll let you guys take turns on this. Tom, do you think that has impacted his career at all?
No. I mean, at the time, everyone was talking about it. I don't even know if people remember about it at this point, though. It doesn't even matter, I don't think.
That was such a weird song. I mean, it was one of those ones. It felt like it was a little bit ahead of its time as far, and not, again, by quality at all, but just social media buzz. Because if that thing came out today, my God, the think pieces and the tweets would be insane. But I know that it's terrible to say this. I thought that taking the vulgarity out of it, the song was actually kind of cute. I thought it was an okay song. It's stupid and terrible, and the video was ridiculous, but I don't know, kind of oddly catchy in a creepy Family Guy sort of way.
But no, remember that he did it to prove a point, and because he's a smart dude, and he just was so fed up with how music was going, he's like, well, if I make this crappy, trendy song, it's going to get more attention than anything else I do, and he was right.
He was right, and that's exactly what it did. And as a song, because he is who he is, it was still a decent song, even though it was kind of a joke song. But no, I don't think it hurt his career. At the time, people were like, what is this guy doing? But I don't think it hurt anything. It's kind of like Kyle said, it kind of came and went.
And then everyone went back to listening to 6812. All right. Mariah Carey has a new song out. And Tom, I went on record to say if Mariah hits #1 once again, Ed will give me a 2-piece from Popeyes with the biscuit. And Mariah dropped that new single. It was apparently rumored to be like featuring Drake, but that wasn't the case. With You, produced by DJ Mustard, which is interesting because she brought DJ Mustard to produce a beat that sounded like a Jermaine Dupri beat. I don't know why or how that happened. But the single is all right. Ed, I know you're not a fan of it, or you just thought it was okay, actually.
Playa, I'm not a fan of it. Again, this is another song that I don't know. Mariah used to be, and I know I'm going back in the day and talking about how it used to be by y'all get off my lawn. But Mariah used to be one of the better songwriters. All these songs now just sound so juvenile and just so ugh. It's like her 14-year-old it was like, hey, look at this Facebook post I wrote. Oh, that would make a great song. They just I'm not feeling the lyrics. The beat is okay. Just like it's kind of like what was the previous song that was awful? It's kind of like a better version of that because it feels a little bit more like a professional Mariah song. But again, it doesn't do anything for me. It's a little dull. Just not my thing. We know Mariah can do better.
I hate to say it, but I feel like if she put out a super ballad like she used to, like no one would even care in this day and age.
Oh no, and again, we don't even have to go with a ballad. I mean, Honey and some of her biggest songs were far from ballads, but geez, it's just I don't even know what I wouldn't call this a ballad, but it's super mid-tempo and it's very draggy to me. Feels like it goes on
you know it's interesting? It'd be curious to see what her fan base looks like now and who is anticipating new music from her. You know, I have no idea.
I mean, just judging from online in my circles, most of her vocal, and again, this is because it's social media, but a lot of her most vocal fan base are really young fans that honestly don't even know the early Mariah stuff. Maybe a year or two ago when I ranked her albums, a lot of her fans were mad because the more recent albums I had at the back of the list, and they were like, her best album is Emancipation, and what's the one, the Memoirs of Imperfect Angel, that's like top 3, and I'm like, what in the world? Like, have you even heard the earlier stuff? So she has a newer, younger fan base, and a lot of them kind of really resonate with this stuff. But her OG fans, I don't think they're riding with these newer tracks.
Yeah, because if you think about it, Kyle, your mom grew up on Mariah and artists like that in the 90s, and that's how you got into it. But I highly doubt people like your mom are still waiting for new Mariah music or want to hear any of this.
Not sounding like this.
My mama just goes back to Daydream and Butterfly and all that stuff. So no. The record's actually, to me, guys, the record was fine. I don't think it was as snoozy as you guys thought it was. It's probably not a lead single material, though. I'll say that.
Not at all.
It probably won't be that #1 that we've all been seeking from her. But still, a DJ Mustard track, you get in the studio with DJ Mustard and you produce a beat that sounds like a Jermaine Dupri beat. I don't know, that seems kind of wasteful, in my opinion.
It's weird for sure.
Yeah. We got a new record out called Shame, and it's not the Superior Tyrese version, it's the one by Maxwell.
Yeah.
A lot of people were pissed about this song. Tom, tell them why they should be pissed.
What?
Wait, why should they be? Who was pissed? I didn't see that.
I don't know. I just saw a bunch of comments on my Facebook, and people were pissed about it.
What were they?
I didn't see that.
Okay, well, someone tell me what the song sounds like because I haven't heard it yet.
Oh my gosh! Anyway, I've actually heard the song, unlike this guy. It is a kind of. If I have to describe it, it feels like, and I'm saying this a lot this podcast, it's almost like a Maxwell album cut. It definitely sounds like a Maxwell song, but it doesn't have any spark to it. It doesn't feel like a.
Yep.
When Lake by the Ocean came out, I was like, man, this sounds like a Maxwell song, but it sounds like a hit Maxwell song. This just sounds like a Maxwell song. It just, it came out in 2003. That was okay, but. Again, it doesn't betray his sound, but it's something that a only Maxwell fan would probably really latch on to. Everybody else would be like, oh, that's an okay song.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Standard Maxwell song.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, guys, let me pull up these comments.
Oh, I see some of the comments now. Wow. Jeez.
What did they say?
All right. Not only is the song trash, but it's badly mixed too. Someone wrote, such a shame. I wanted to like, but I was more like, meh. It's terrible. What was he thinking? Oh dear, this is not what I expected. Go back to Neo Soul Maxwell and not good.
Jeez, it's not that bad. I do agree that it's kind of poorly mixed. That I agree on. It's not great, but it's not horrible.
So
yeah.
Oh, guys, I totally forgot. So going back to that Mariah song for a second, one of our fans said that Mariah's vocals on that song sounded like Daily. I thought that was a pretty random comment.
What? Yes, and I heard this. It is the most weird thing. How does Daily even sound like that? I'm very confused. Are we just randomly saying names now?
Yep. Ed Bowser sounds like. Tom, give me one of those old school artists.
Chucky Booker.
There you go.
Chucky Booker? I wish I sounded like Chucky.
Listen, it wouldn't be a SoulBack podcast if we didn't shout out Chucky Booker once again.
Chucky and the Whitehead Bros, yes. We got to get them in.
And we got to also show some love to Kenny Lattimore. We haven't given him enough love on this podcast, apparently. We love you, Kenny. All right. We got a couple more new songs to go through here. I warned you guys it was a busy week, so I have to see if we're all doing our homework here. Ed, your girl Elle Varner, new song, Loving You Blind. Our girl, Miss Superwife, was very excited to see that Elle Varner finally came back. Didn't she come back with a new single like half a year ago?
Yeah,
because we were trying to get her on the podcast. And that just...
Oh, I remember this, because I suspiciously got sick before that podcast. I couldn't make that one.
Oh, right. My goodness.
But yeah, that single fell to the wayside, and we've got Loving You Blind. Ed?
This is the first time that we have mentioned something on the podcast that I have not heard yet. Shocking, I know, but I have not heard this song yet.
Wow. So Tom and I
you had an interesting reaction to it, Kyle. Yeah, you had an interesting take on it.
Yeah, because so Tom and I listened to this song on our way back from Seattle. We had driven like 2 hours, and it doesn't sound like an R&B song, or maybe I don't know. Maybe my history on R&B is not up to date, but it sounded like a folksy pop song. Is that right, Tom?
I thought it sounded like to me. I was like, "Is this an Adele song?" I thought it was inspired by Adele or something.
Yeah,
I've got to check this out. I cannot.
Which isn't to say. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's not what we expected from her.
No, in the great words of someone on this podcast that I will not name, if it's not Oak and Pop with Elle, I don't want it.
Well,
who said that?
Oh my God.
I just said she made some amazing music with them. I'd like to see that continue, but I don't know where that's at.
So, not sure what's going to go on with Elle Varner's album. We've been waiting. It's kind of interesting. I'm wondering if this time that she's been away because at one point in like 2012 when Refill was out, and that was when R&B was looking a little questionable. She was really able to establish a name for herself. Got Grammy nominated. Now she's on E1, so it'll be interesting to see what she does from here on out.
Yeah, she definitely, I think during that weird period where R&B was getting really shaky and going off the rails, she really kind of helped establish herself that during that era. I will give props when it's due, because she was able to kind of get a foothold there. But it just, for whatever reason, she was just never really able to follow up on anything. And that's what's hurt her. And she hasn't had any momentum to get back into the game.
A couple of new singles we still got to talk about here. This young lady has an album coming out next week. Ella May. She released a new record. This is the third song off the album, Whatchamacallit, with Ed's cousin Chris Brown. Ed, what did you think of the song? I know you like it.
Yeah, I did actually like it okay. Despite Cousin Chris being on it, I thought it wasn't bad. I was on Ella's Twitter, and she had a really cool tweet from, I guess she retweeted one of her friends, and her friend was saying how Ella was obsessed with Chris during her, like, in school, and she would talk about him every day. So for her to be able to be on a song with him, and it's his lead single to this huge album that people are expecting, it's kind of like a dream come true for her. So good for her for achieving her dream and being able to collaborate with one of her favorite artists. The song is kind of goofy. It's just kind of like, almost like a cheating anthem, except they're just being silly about it. It's fine for what it is. I liked it a lot. I know some people were like, oh, this is too silly. But, you know, what do you expect? It's called Whatchamacallit. It's not deep prose. So it's a fun little goofy song that I think would probably fit in well with some of the other songs that she's kind of released. And I think will kind of flow into the album. So again, for me, she's 3 for 3 for releases on the album. That'll be here in a couple weeks.
Wow. Tom, I sent you an interesting fact the other day. Boot Up is now the number one highest or longest ranking or charting song on the Billboard R&B charts for a female. Number one for all is Miguel. And I read another interesting tweet that said, how can someone so basic like Ella May and her music be the face of R&B right now? Is the bar that low? And we're not really going to get into that, but it's interesting how she has such a significant record on the charts right now, and it's breaking records. It's historical. Yet, I don't really think a lot of fans know who she is. I think you brought that up.
Yeah, I mean, this is like, to me, this is like the biggest song that no one's even talking about. I mean, I barely even know what she looks like. She's not even like a household name. It'll be really interesting to see the sales numbers. I mean, I don't even care about sales, but I'm sure it'll have huge streaming numbers. But it's an interesting time in music right now. And, yeah, it's surprising that it's doing so well. Not because of the quality, because no one's talking about it that I hear. Only down south, I guess, right, Ed?
Oh, please. Only down south. Where? And now this is from, like, freaking London. Anyway, to bring it back to common sense, which lacks between these two. I do think you do have a good point, though. It's weird because this song is breaking records. It's one of the bigger R&B songs of the past 2 or 3 years. But nobody could probably pick Ella May out of a lineup. And it's because of the nature of how this song blew up. It's been one of the most interesting stories to me as kind of a music historian ever. Because you got a song that, number one, has been around for years. Like, we had this song on our top 100 songs of 2017? We had it on our list last year. Yep. This song has been out forever. It just happened to go viral, and people are loving this song, but they haven't really gotten behind the artist because it's just a song that people love, and it's like everyone's doing their own covers of it, and yada yada. So the song is bigger than the actual artist. So again, it's not like a Rihanna situation where it's Rihanna and she has blah 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 songs. But it's just Boot Up. And who sings that Boot Up, girl? Who sings Boot Up? Like, a lot of fans don't know because it was the song that caught traction and not the artist. It's a very, very weird kind of offshoot of what we see in music in 2018, where we don't have the TV shows to kind of introduce the audience to the world or to get to know them. Just the music just kind of goes viral on Twitter, and then people start adding it to their dumb videos, and there you go, it blows up. So Ella, and I remember at the BET Awards this past year, they didn't even have her perform. They had her perform on the little kid thing that they do before the commercials, when they have a rising artist sing a song for 30 seconds before the commercial. This was the biggest song in the country. She couldn't even get up there, couldn't cut the freaking Migos back for 3 minutes and give her a piece. Nope. Again, it's weird because her fame has been shortcut, and it's just this big giant song. And I think that kind of goes into a controversy. I can't remember if we've talked about this yet, Kyle. The controversy with Your Boy, Jacquees, and his song, his cover being kind of shut down by the label. And again, it's business because they want Ella out front and not her music out front. I heard a lot of fans saying, I didn't know that was her song. I thought that was his song. Because we've got artists, and by song, let me give some backstory. He covered her most recent single, Trip, and it was catching fire. And the label was like, nope, nope, nope. And because Twitter's an idiot, they were like, oh, Ella May is keeping down Jacquees. No, Ella May ain't got nothing to do with this. The label is like, no, no, no. We have to market our artists. We can't have the songs getting more traction than her, because they too see what we're talking about here now. So again, it's kind of a tough situation to be in, because she's got this mega song, but she's still pretty unknown. I'm very interested in seeing how this album turns out. I know it'll be quality. Again, we've heard her stuff for years. She's not new to the game. She's very talented. But I wonder if the booed up phenomenon will translate into album sales. I'm not sure.
That's a great point. I know Trip is doing well on radio as well, and I think it's at like top 20 now on Billboard, so she has another hit in her hands, but is it going to translate into people recognizing who she is? Who knows? But at the same time, Tom, I'm thinking about another artist who I think his songs might be bigger than him as an artist, and he has a huge following. Khalid? Isn't that your boy?
My boy? Our boy manages him, which is kind of cool, but I don't even think that's an R&B singer. Actually, it's not an R&B singer.
Ed, is he an R&B singer?
I didn't think that the first song, what was the thing that was, I can't remember the name of the song that everybody liked that was god-awful. Like, that song to me was not an R&B song. What was that thing called?
What was that
Location.
thing called, Tom?
Young Broke High School Kids or whatever?
Oh, no, you're talking about Young, Dumb, and Broke.
Yeah, that's another
Location.
song. No,
Location.
That's the song. That duet to me was not an R&B song. On My Way is definitely more R&B, but you know, I have to hear more.
What about the song? It's called Love Lies. That's like a Post Malone type song.
I don't even remember that song. I'll be honest, the only song of his that ever stuck with me was On My Way. Like, that's an R&B song, but his earlier stuff really kind of balanced the line. So I'm not sure I would call him an R&B artist, but he definitely has at least one R&B song.
Yeah, and he has a massive following. I was at his concert a while ago, and all the kids knew him and loved him. So it might be the same case with Ella May. We might just be getting old, guys.
It's the same thing with every black singer. They wanted to slap the R&B label on them. It's unfortunate.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's what we do by default, and that's unfair. Yep. But then it goes the other way, because then if a white artist tries to do R&B, they just throw the pop label on them and say, oh, you can't come into this space. So it's been a problem forever, generations.
Also, the song "Love Lies" I just mentioned, it was number one on the pop airplay charts, if that matters to you. So it's pretty huge.
Yeah, well, I have.
You probably wouldn't have even known it was him if you heard the song. Like, I didn't know until I looked it up.
That's probably it. I'm sure I've heard it, and I was like, well, who is this weirdo? And just assumed it was Post Malone or somebody. They all sound the same.
Right. Got a couple more records here. Jay Holiday Guys, we exclusively premiered this song on our site on Thursday. It came out on Friday for everyone else. 25 to Life, off his new album Time, that's coming out later this year. Have you guys heard the record?
I did. You know, that's my boy. One of the most infamous podcasts in SoulBack history.
Yeah,
I have not yet. It just came out, right? I didn't check it out yet.
Just came out
a couple days ago.
Yeah, I heard it. You know what? It's sort of like just like an evolution of Jay's music since Bed. I was actually talking to his manager as we were planning for the release of this single, and you know, the one thing I said about Jay, whether you like his views on or not, and all that stuff, his music has been fairly consistent, and he's followed the blueprint, and he continues to follow that blueprint. So, if you're a fan of Bed and Suffocate and all of that, and of course Guilty Conscience, which we all liked, this is sort of in that realm. So. Doesn't break any grounds, but it's a solid listen in my opinion.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. It's not a hit like Bed or Suffocate or those bigger records, but as far as a reintroduction, it does fine, and it shows kind of like this is the sound that you're used to, but we're kicking it up a notch. So if that's the goal, then it succeeded.
Yep. And then on the flip side of that, because, you know, we've talked about all these artists from my generation that have come back. Mario put out a pretty, I guess, mature, spiritual album. I think that's the right word. Jay Holiday's record has always been pretty grown. Who else? Lloyd came out, pretty grown album as well. Mm-hmm. A lot of maturity. And then we have
Don't forget VA's your boy Trey.
Well, our boy Trey just came out with a new record. You know, we gave him some props for growing up last year, but he came out with a new record yesterday, actually. Tom, it features your boy Yo Gotti and 2 Chainz. How'd that sound? Isn't it like a stripper anthem?
I didn't even need to listen to know how it was going to go, so I didn't listen, obviously. And what do you expect, though? Come on, guys. What are you expecting?
Look at Tom being politically correct.
I mean, what do you want from Trey?
I want him to not sound like he's 18, but I mean, I haven't heard the record, so I can't say. But like you said, if it quacks like a duck, walking like a duck, it's probably gonna sound like hot garbage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't like the record. I feel like Trey can do much more, but I guess he's still with, you know, Atlantic and that major label situation, so he probably has to release a record like that. But it's a shame because Tremaine, his last album, was actually very solid. It didn't get the attention that maybe some of his earlier albums got, but it felt like it was a solid release, and I hope he continues down that route. It doesn't look like it at this point, but one can hope.
Maybe he should start putting out Peebo Bryson type music.
Come on.
Shout out my man Peebo. Good God. I'm going to replace you on this podcast with Peebo. Episode to go 3 hours.
Yo, I still listen to that podcast because I'm not finished learning. We might have to get him back on here. I got 2 more tracks that I just want to bring up. Tom, your boy, not your boy, your girl, Nail, dropped a new single. You posted that. And Soul Child was going nuts on our Facebook in like Swedish or Switzerland language or whatever. So I thought that was cool.
In Switzerland language. Oh my gosh.
Oh man. Yeah.
I'm a big Nayo fan. I thought the song was just okay. Her more recent single, Drive and Disconnect, now that one I really like. This one was just kind of like a regular song by her.
Mm-hmm. And then Victoria Monet, our girl, she writes a lot for Ariana Grande. Apparently they're like BFFs, but she dropped her new EP, Live After Love, Part 2. I haven't had a chance to listen to it, but the feedback I've gotten from the fans is that they really like this EP.
I haven't heard that one either. And again, like you said, the reaction's been pretty solid online, but can't speak on it since I haven't heard it, but her pen is pretty good. I'll give her that.
Yep.
And she's also featured on a new T.I. song, so there's that.
Yeah.
All right. Are you guys ready for the Playa Please Awards?
Oh boy,
I can't wait.
We got some this week.
We definitely do have some this week. Let's talk about Flaming Hot Cheetos. Tom, do you like Flaming Hot Cheetos?
Absolutely not. It's a little too spicy for me. I prefer a little more mild spice than that.
Ed?
Absolutely not. They're gross and disgusting.
Well, one rapper, Lil Xan, who loves eating Flaming Hot Cheetos, actually got sent to the hospital because he ate too many.
Good. He needed to be hospitalized.
Why do these things have to be in the headlines and on my Google feed? Like, why does that make the news?
Because we are in a, let me tell you from someone who actually works in the news, who has worked in the news arena, we are in the 24/7 news cycle where you got to post something. So you got to post this, and we have to post about stuff people who have big social media followings. So if Lil Garbage decides to eat his weight in trash and his stomach explodes, his little minions are going to share the crap out of that story. So there we go. We give them all the headlines because we know that story will get a lot of attention. It's that simple.
Damn. Second player, please. K. Michelle, did you guys see this video recently?
Oh my gosh, I literally just saw this, was it last night? Someone had posted it and I saw it, and I can't believe I had gone this long in my life without seeing this video. It is hilarious.
Tom, have you seen it?
I didn't hear the audio, but I watched what you sent me. I can only imagine what the heck happened.
Alright, Ed, describe it for everyone out there.
So, I can't remember if this girl is like selling cookies or something. This woman comes up to K. Michelle's house, and she comes up to it and rings the doorbell. Nobody comes to the door. K. Michelle apparently has one of these things where she can like look at people on her camera from her phone and also like send audio through the phone. So this girl is there ringing the doorbell. K. Michelle doesn't come to the door because she don't want to like fight with somebody about some cookies. Can't blame her. I let it ring too when Jehovah's Witness come. So she rings the doorbell. The girl, I guess, sees the camera. So she starts kind of performing. She starts twerking and being ridiculous. So K. Michelle, like the voice of God, just screams at the girl and cusses her out. The girl runs for her life, jumps on her little moped or whatever, and stumbles away. My description does not do the hilarity justice. You have to see this video. And for the Playa Please, I'm not even giving it to K. Michelle. I'm giving it to the little girl that was selling cookies or whatever. Because why are you twerking on somebody's camera?
Why was the girl like in a golf cart? That's what I don't understand. Where was?
Oh, that's what it was. It was a golf cart. That's what it was. I assume because they do that in my neighborhood too. Like they're like people from the neighborhood association that are driving around in golf carts, and she probably was selling something, and this was like the easiest way to get between houses. So I remember she was riding on something. You're right, it was a golf cart.
Shout out to the South. You can't even walk around the block. You have to take the golf cart to move around.
Well, we just don't have to stumble over the rats and trash that you guys have to. So excuse us for having nice green spaces.
And then the last Playa Please Award, guys, I'm giving it to myself.
Uh-oh.
Are you guys ready for the Street Fighter story?
Yes,
oh,
I need to hear about this, because I didn't.
Well, first of all, we're giving a Playa Please to the Movieland Arcade. It's an arcade downtown in Vancouver. We went on Google and we searched up the review for this arcade, and every single person said that the place smelled like urine. Well, Ed, we walked into this arcade, and it smelled like urine.
Man, why did you go to the arcade if they told you it smelled like urine? If they told you, you can't be mad that you're walking out smelling like a R. Kelly concert.
Well, first of all, Ed, Tom, can you explain this bathroom situation? Because, like, from what I remember, the door didn't close properly. You could see, like, outside the washroom from, like, the inside out.
Wait,
Yeah,
what?
it was like half a door. It was like only the bottom half of a door, and it didn't even close. I don't understand.
What do you mean the bottom half of a door?
It's like
They
someone
had a
cut the
half
top
a
half
door?
of a door off. Yeah.
Why?
And that was the restroom situation. No wonder people were peeing on the floor.
Yep. And you couldn't actually close the door. No toilet paper. I don't think they even had a seat for you to sit on that toilet either.
Yeah, they didn't have a seat.
Did they just have a hole in the ground? Like, what are you describing? I can't even picture this.
Anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, when you come next time, we'll show you.
Oh my god, I'm not going to pissy arcade land.
Well, first of all, they have some pretty cool games there. They had Marvel vs. Capcom. They had, I think Time Crisis was down at the time, so Tom was playing House of the Dead. And at one point, we were playing Street Fighter 2. And there was this dude that was beside us playing it. And we were watching him play, and it seemed like every time he like won or lost, he would write down something on this huge piece of paper. And I don't know what he was writing down. It may have been like the tendencies of each character. I don't know. But it got me curious. So I'm like, I gotta play this guy. This guy clearly is insane. So as I walked up to him, and I don't know what the arcade etiquette is. Are you supposed to ask him if you can play with him, or do you just put in the quarter and play with them, Ed?
I mean, you ask most times. I mean, sometimes if it's like a big crowd, you don't have to. But back in my arcade days, you like, yo, can I hop on? And it's just like, all right.
So I was about to go pull up beside him and play, and he walked away like 2 seconds later. So I was like, damn, cold-blooded. So he actually left the arcade. So my dreams of playing this guy were over until he came back like 2 minutes later with a $20 bill. Went to the cash machine or the change machine and got $20 worth of quarters. So you know he was going to be there for a while. He goes back to the Street Fighter cabinet, starts playing. I pull up beside him again and I said, hey, can I play against you? He said, no problem. And Ed, I was using Ryu. He was using Vega. He proceeded to kill me in about 10 seconds.
I was about to say, if you ever go into an arcade and the dude is like taking notes and writing books on strategy, you about to get your butt handed to you.
So I had to shake his hand after too, because that was amazing.
You probably had to, and he used my boy Vega. I should have been there taking notes too.
Yeah. So those are the Playa Please Awards of the day. Tom, what is the SoulBack track?
And then and then we took a piss on the floor and walked out.
No, we didn't. Let's focus here, Tom. What is the SoulBack track of the day?
I didn't even have one in mind, but I'm going to go with Tamia's single, which has just reached #1 on the charts. Can you believe it, guys? She did it.
She did it.
And
Yes.
glad she's still having success. Urban AC is like the wild, wild west right now. But yeah, we love this song though. This is probably gonna be my top 5 of the year. If we even have 10 songs, I don't know, for R&B this year. I don't know, man. It's gonna be tough to find. We're definitely not doing 100 this year.
I don't know if we can do 100, to be honest. I mean, there are some good album cuts. I was listening to Van Jess a couple of days ago, and I was like, man, they got a couple joints up here. So I mean, there are a few of those.
Who told you? Who told you to listen to that?
I don't know. Some dude. I can't remember his name. Some weirdo from New York. I don't know.
Well, actually,
Yeah,
guys,
I think his name was Chic Luch.
Chic Luch. What? No, but really, for all the fans out there that are wondering where Tom has been, he actually manages Van Jess. Not really, but
I'm still not sure that he doesn't have some money tied up in that.
That's where we're at these days. If you co-sign something, you gotta be making money off it.
yeah.
Well, I will say though, when you mentioned it to me, it was your song of the day. After hearing about the pissy arcade, I thought you were gonna say your song was "Rain on Me."
Oh
my God! Where's your head at?
Song.
I literally thought that's what you were gonna say.
That's a
Aren't
great
you
song
someone
right
who? Aren't you someone who mentors children with that type of thoughts in your head? How does this happen?
Yes, it is a terrible thought, and seeing that you're about to be a father, you aren't gonna be far off.
Ouch.
You just peed on the floor of an arcade.
Hey, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
This is true.
Oh my god.
On a side note, guys, I should have brought this up earlier because we're talking about albums of the years. I went to Jessie J's concert the other day with Ro James opening up. That was a really good concert. You guys need to go check that out if you guys haven't. Jessie J is like, I knew she was good at singing, but man, she is actually like amazing.
She is amazing and very. I feel like that her album Rose is starting to get, because it got a lot of buzz earlier in the year, but as we get later in the year with a lot of bigger name releases, I feel like it's starting to get lost in the shuffle a little bit, and that's very unfortunate because to me, when it comes to R&B releases, she's easily top 5, if not the top.
And she sang Tom's favorite song, Price Tag, so it was all good.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
Ed, what's going on with SoulInStereo.com?
Oh man, so much. Literally before we hopped on this podcast, I hit the button on a review of Ghostface Killer's new album, The Lost Tapes. And if you know Ghostface, you know you're getting some quality, so that's up. We talked a little bit earlier about Marsha's album. That one is ready to go. Or check out my thoughts on NYLA. And of course, yes, I also weighed in on Lil Wayne's The Carter 5. So if you want to hear a non-stan review of that thing, go check it out. And be warned, I give you the real.
Nice. Tom, what's going on with I Got Soul? Are we still making donuts?
We're still making the donuts. We're too blessed to be stressed. And we're en route to save R&B.
Oh my god.
Ed, do you have any idea what's going on here?
Unfortunately, I do.
Wow, that's impressive. That is impressive. Shout out to Playa.
Hold on. I'm not going to give them the Playa Please because they're our boys. But Ed,
no, don't give them the Playa Please.
No, we have to, sort of. Because they're doing some grammatically incorrect things. I'm not sure what the education is like in the South. But...
Oh! Good one, Kyle.
Let's start with Digital Black's hashtag, too stressed to be blessed. If you actually read it, he doesn't actually write two with two O's. It's just one O, so it's actually to be stressed to be blessed.
I thought he used the number 2, but he just used T-O.
Yeah, he just used T-O.
No, I can't defend that.
And not to be outdone, Smokey, he always, whenever he's traveling to another city, he puts en route to, Alabama. But apparently it's supposed to be E-N and not I-N. But he uses I-N. So...
No, it's not I-N. It's E-N.
So who's going to tell him that he's wrong? Ed?
Well, I think you just did. Shout out to my boys for putting them on blast on the podcast. But yeah, y'all, holla at your boy. Let me do your social media. And my rates are reasonable.
These guys are some singers. They're not the grammar police. Leave them alone.
That's true. And the SoulBack challenge continues. Anyways, Ed, Tom, what's going on with I Got Soul.com?
We need a SoulBack challenge for real, but what's going on? I don't know. Not much, I'd say. Just as it's been all year. We haven't really been doing many interviews. You've been doing some shows. I thought you gave up, but then you're back suddenly. How have those been going?
It's rough. I had to skip on a Miguel show because I was too tired to go. I went to the Beyonce and Jay-Z show the other day. That was actually pretty good. You know what, Ed, Tom, I'll give you this because everyone obviously, or most people went to watch Beyonce, but Jay-Z held his own, which was pretty impressive.
Well, I will attest to that. I went to the first On the Run, and I just expected it to be the Beyonce show featuring Jay-Z, and Jay held his own. I didn't go to the second one. My wife did, and she said that once again, he puts on a great show.
Yep.
Most rappers cannot perform, so it's kind of good that Jay is kind of going against the trend.
Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, I saw Jessie J and Ro James in concert. Actually, the day after the Beyonce concert. So I was supposed to sleep in today to catch up on sleep, and then you fools wanted me to do a podcast at 8 a.m. But here we are. So yeah, that's been pretty much all that's been going on with me. Yeah, we're just gonna continue to do this R&B thing, guys, and we're gonna keep it moving. So I think that wraps up this week's podcast.
Real quick, actually, guys. Real quick, are there any albums coming out? Releases coming up?
We've got.
I know Raheem Devon is coming. Raheem Devon, I think, is this month.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is it? Ella Mai's coming. I think hers coming in November, because her single just hit #1 on Urban AC like last week. So they're gonna really start pushing that album out. What else is coming? I know Brandy's been talking about releasing an album for like 4 years now. I don't think it's gonna come before.
I'm not holding my breath for Brandy.
Yeah.
And same for Kelly Price. She's another one that's been talking for a while that with no date has been set.
Right. Pleasure P just dropped an EP the other day. It's like Pleasure P Presents New Artists EP. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but I know he's been like doing interviews. He's been doing press in New York. I think he just did the Breakfast Club. But that seems to be it for this year. I don't see Mariah dropping her album before the year's over.
Well, we'll just have to wait for all those surprise albums that'll drop. They'll just drop us on us, and then everybody will become like superstars like Beyonce, because that worked for her.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, guys. I think that's it for this week's podcast. Appreciate everyone for tuning in. It's actually Thanksgiving in Canada this weekend, so I'm gonna go eat my Nando's chicken, which Tom actually had the opportunity to eat. And he thought it was just okay. It was just chicken, but Tom's weird, so it's okay. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, no, You're not kidding. This man was pawning his grasshoppers off on you, and then didn't even eat any himself.
This is true, but like I said, that's it for this week, and we will see you all next week. We're out.
All right. Peace. All right. Peace. All right. Peace. All right. Peace. All right. Peace.